So
Just wait for this kettle to finish boiling.
that's actually better because I can actually hear it if it's boiling. So, like,
Okay.
it's a good thing for a sound test. So, let me
Okay, should almost be finished anyway.
figure out what the heck I'm doing here again.
Shut up. Ow, ow, ow.
Okay, doing here. Okay, audio on YouTube sounds good. Since I did everything on here, it's better too because now I can separately start Rumble and X and Odyssey all without them starting up automatically.
Only problem with Jitsi is that I can't open up two windows because the one that I'm looking at the moment is on my screen, which is about 6 feet in front of me. And obviously, I can't see any sort of, well, it's harder to see any text on that. With Skype, I could have one window up here and another window here. Sort of, well, it's harder to see the text.
Yeah, I know. It's
with Skype,
I ended up. I have no idea what's going on. I ended up freaking doing it and everything, but well, I mean, I'm okay with using Jitsi, don't get me wrong, but it's just getting used to it all over again, you know what I mean? That's the bad part about it.
Interface.
Okay, let's see.
Not once you see one of these voiceover or video conferencing platforms, you've seen them all.
Yeah. It gets annoying though. It does get annoying though. Oh wait, hold up. I checked Rumble. It sounds like the audio on there is good. I'm not sure.
Cool.
It just keeps doing this, stopping and going. That's the bad part.
Jeez, that should be okay from this.
Start X now. See what that does. Yeah, there it goes. It sounds good. Okay. Yeah. No, stay. The other day I almost messed up on this one too. X is always the one that gets me. I almost messed up on this one too. X is always the one.
No, I was just expecting when I saw you mention 4.5 hours earlier, I was thinking midnight.
Actually, it's
But you're correct. Yeah, it is. You did at 6:30. UTC.
X is always the one that gets me.
Yeah.
And see that's that last week I was running late and everything, so I actually did it a day later too, I believe.
No, it was a Friday. No, it was a Friday because we were talking about Neoki's stream afterwards.
Oh, that's right. You are right. Because, well, it must have been, well, yeah, it was, because we had to do it again on Saturday the first time because I messed up on the audio on Thursday.
Technically, it was Saturday for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically it was Saturday for me, but still Friday for you.
Okay, so okay. X sounds good now. I'm starting Odyssey and getting it all set up and ready to go.
So I'm making another cup of coffee, so it's been a chaotic evening already.
Oh yeah, it's same here with me.
So I'm making another cup of coffee.
Because I ended up going on that fucking group on Minds for the reading corner. And
Okay.
I instigated a fight with a frickin' Nazi on there. Just to piss him off.
A Nazi, a brown shirt or a black shirt?
Frickin' I didn't see any pictures of him, but the thing that annoys me about that place is that's the oldest frickin' writing group on Minds, and people need to have more respect for that shit.
No.
You know, like coming in there, he was spilling all of his garbage out in their chat, and not one time did he make a post on the frickin' group.
think that group is as old as Mug, as
Yeah.
Minds User Group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Last created in 2017.
it's the oldest. It's one of the oldest groups. Like,
Okay.
you know, I just, that kind of shit just pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it. It just, there's something about it just irritates the shit out of me.
I can understand that.
Okay, I am going to go get me some coffee and smoke a cigarette too. So
Cool.
hopefully Tan does come in here. That'd be cool if we can get him in here to talk with us, because this is good stuff, man. I know he'd love this. Especially with you. He'll freaking start a fight with you.
No, he won't. He's nice.
Well, he'll start fighting a nice way. Let me
Okay.
just say it
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Because he'll have to correct you. He loves to correct you. You ever notice he loves
Correct.
he loves to correct you.
Yeah, it's very weird that he corrects me. He gives a different opinion,
Yeah.
but not correct.
Well, that's Canadian. That's what Canadians do. What you perceive as like one thing, they perceive as another thing. Like he knows he's correcting you, but you don't realize it. You know what I mean? That's the Canadian thing. Very subtle.
Kind of like different cultures. Did you enjoy my Yes Ministers videos yesterday?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I really
That
do.
was-
I like watching those.
It was funny. They had a series sort of underlining points to it.
Hmm. Okay, so let me go and I'll do this real quick. I'm gonna put a little bit of background music on the video for people to listen. Well, I can't do that because I'm doing my live stream. So actually, I could probably put a picture up and then run some background music until I'm done with my smoke, and then we should be good to go.
Cool.
I've got everything ready. I put some weird stuff on there the other day. It was pretty cool. It was like a big, go Dancer of Lights and Shadow.
Royalty free ale.
Oh,
Copyright shop.
it's better than royalty free.
What?
It's AI.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Quote unquote.
Well, I'm not saying it's better in that sense. I'm just saying that it's better than the quote unquote free music. You know.
There's an entire library. There's centuries worth of classical music out there.
I just don't trust people. That's my whole point. Like one day it's freaking free to use, and the next day they're hitting you with copyright infringement. So
Stick something like Greensleeves on. Nobody's going to copy. Give you a strike for that.
I'll be back. I gotta go get me a
Right.
smoke.
Okay. Of course, yeah. What's that agility sort of camera movement then? Stand up there further. Oh, what the fuck? Some more on there. More there. I'll worry about that bit later. Fuck, oh, the snake bird creation thing. Sounds like poison Skype, so doesn't undo certain country Unicode. Oh well. Interesting. Legion of Chaos. What the fuck? Oh no. Expected. What the fuck? Just not too long for me.
Okay, so I am back. I will unmute now. Hello, I'm back.
Cool. Cool.
Has Tan come in, or is he?
No. No.
He's probably sitting in the background. I gotta switch the media source back over to what we had it on before. So, but and then I gotta grab the edited stuff. So, or not the edited, or the talking points.
Okay.
So, after that.
Are we still working on the same materials we have been on the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's the same stuff. But with this one, what I'm wanting to do, if Tan does come in, there's like 3 things I think we should bring back up so that he can have a little say on it.
Okay.
It was the thing where we were discussing the EU, and then hyper-threading, and then after that, ray tracing.
Okay. EU?
Yeah, it was the EU when we were talking about how you were talking about there was different parts they could be using for different functions that were better. And then I mentioned, like, do you think maybe they have like contracts set up to where, because all of the players that you mentioned are in a part of all that, you know what I mean? But they're doing different functions where they would be better at or where they wouldn't be better at rather than what they would be good at, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
The best function for the EU at the moment is to functionally disappear.
I thought you was going to say that in a really bad way. You were really good at that. I was like, I was thinking more on the lines of fuck off and die, you know.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of
good showmanship there. I was like, that was really, really good. That's better than what I would have said. Well, I guess I just said it, so that's horrible. And like I said to anybody, if anybody is listening or does listen, this is an adult conversation about gaming. So if you guys can't...
And if you're easily offended, then...
Yeah. Sorry for your luck, you know. Let me check on chat and see what he says. He hasn't come in yet.
No.
Alright, we've got you in here, that's important, but it's okay because we've got talking points and we got everything that we need, so it's good to go. And when he shows up, that's when we'll drill him with the hard questions. Let me see.
He's just looking.
Okay, I gotta remember where I put those damn talking points.
I was just trying to scroll up on this chat just to see if I can find them.
I don't know if
problem with Jen was is that there is so much content. Maybe to be that's very easy to lose
track. Yeah, I know.
Place. Yeah.
Everybody seems to be wanting to go in and have like really, really cool conversations, and they don't realize, I guess, that it's a gaming freaking group. You know,
Which group?
The gaming with Infamous.
Okay. Are you talking about your Discord?
Yeah. My Skype. My Skype.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know there's Angel sort of been spamming a bit.
He's crazy. I'm okay with it because that's pretty much the only people on there that really go on there.
I wouldn't mind it, but my instant message, because I've got Pigeon configured with this with Skype. Every time you or somebody else post the same comment in multiple rooms, I get millions and millions of notifications.
Oh shit! I hate
It's
that.
really distracting.
I hate that. It's
Uh.
repeating the notifications on my freaking
Yeah.
computer
Yeah.
over and over again too. You know, it's like if I don't go and I don't answer it, all of a sudden, you know, I'm like, dude, seriously, you gotta go that route. Okay, I have got to figure out where I put my gaming stuff.
Donk. He'll be with us in a minute.
It couldn't have been on my sensitive historical content. I've got so many folders for so many folders.
So not only am I going to have to do a time management course, I'm going to have to do a filing course. File
Yeah,
management.
proper computer filing and how
Yeah.
you should set up a proper computer filing thing for people who don't know how to set up a proper computer system.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it depends on your own techniques. There's many different techniques.
Well, with me,
Um,
all I want to do is have a folder where I have all my information in, and like I put videos in the video file, music in the music file, and documents in the document file, and that's the gist of it all.
I think I would stick all the content here within a directory, so it'd be real time or just real time thing. And there might be subdirectories within there
Yeah.
for videos and documents.
So that's what.
And then I would do the same for, let's say, on Wednesday, the fixins, wherever they want to. Then I would have all that and so forth and so on.
Freaking Tommy Spot.
Right, Tan.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, hello, gents. I can hear you now, finally.
Cool.
And you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're glad
Yep.
to have you here, man. We're gonna have you talk some complex freaking language for us, because neither one of us are capable of understanding.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm up for that, guy. So my head is hurting
Yeah,
already without starting into that.
your mind's a bit spinning around. Again, it's been a weird evening.
Yeah, it has
What are
been.
we, what are we talking about today?
It's going to be about the cloud server gaming, cloud gaming.
All right.
And
Okay.
Loud
Cool.
thing, man.
well, we've got Mark with which we both already have established. He's like crazy when it comes to terms of cloud gaming and freaking AI and all of that good stuff. Like, so we've got you here to kind of bring some sanity to Mark in his freaking in his darkness.
Mark and I are like opposite.
I think I'm.
You kind of level him
I think
out.
I'm the unseen person there.
He's you're the one that levels him out to where he stays on task. You know what I mean? Because I just
Me
corrupt,
on task.
I just corrupt the shit out
I
of
thought
him.
Mark's the one that usually keep us in check.
I corrupt the shit out of freaking Mark, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, it's like, and then when you come in, you just kind of like straighten them out and put them back on the straight and narrow. So
Nah. I don't know.
It's
about
all
that.
your fault, Roger.
it's always my fault. I've already said that.
We've already established that, right?
Right. That's old news, man.
Are you streaming, Roger, or are you just recording?
I'm streaming right now. At the moment, I'm not recording yet, but I am about to do that. So I just have
Where
to.
are you streaming? On Rumble?
On Rumble, X.
Did you share your streams on your
X.
Minds channel?
No, I haven't. Well, I do on. No, I haven't in a while.
You should do that.
Well, I mean, nobody
Put out the
watches.
word, man.
no point in streaming on mine. Just
Yeah, yeah.
upload the file afterwards.
Didn't they get rid of the mine streaming already?
Yeah,
I
they
haven't
are.
tried it in a long time too.
They said so, but I've not confirmed that.
So, let me,
Because I don't see the live stream button anymore. I don't think.
yeah.
Okay, in that case, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got it set up for Rumble. I've got it set up for X, and I've got it set up for Odyssey. So we've got all the good shit going on.
Send the link over. I'll share and put out the good word.
Okay, now you want the one for Rumble?
Doesn't matter. Either one.
Oh, well, yeah. I was going to say. That's the-
You have it on X? Let's do the X link. We've never done it on mine.
Oh shit. No, I've got. Okay, I know what to do. You have me thinking here. I've never done like X Pro and X Library at the same time. It freaks me out.
Are you X Pro?
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm
How
just.
much do you pay per month?
I pay once for a year, and after it's basically the same as what Minds Plus was, and
Oh yeah, it's like a yearly subscription.
yeah.
That's cool.
But there's only one bad thing about it. You can't earn off of it until you have like 1,200 followers. So
1,200 followers.
yeah,
You have that much?
yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of like a flop. It was one of those bad ideas that I jumped into without
Alright.
thinking.
I think I found your stream on X.
I got it posted in the chat.
Were you showing all those games, right? Like 1980s game.
Well,
This is no cloud gaming.
that's just the background, man. That's just.
yeah.
Let me go get my coffee before I have a stroke.
I'll give you a stroke.
I'll be right back. I forgot to get my coffee out of the front room.
Oh.
And I'll start the recording and we'll get going real quick.
No.
And I'm going to share his stream on mine's channel. He doesn't even put the subject of his stream in the in his post.
Okay. Doesn't it automatically display as a
Well, it says live stream gaming with Infamous, but the topic today was cloud gaming, right?
that's one of the topics. I think he's got 2, 3. We're still working on that document that he published 2 weeks ago.
You have a document about cloud gaming?
It's
I
somewhere in the chat.
I can share this stuff, but I don't know. It's just a better idea to kind of go through it inch by inch. But
Okay.
we're just basically, I'm bringing up the topic and then we have discussions about it, and we got things that we want to go back over with you anyhow, because there's some good stuff we've already discussed, so that you can have a conversation about it too. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna share your X link, and I'm gonna share the Jitsi link as well.
Okay. So let me do my countdown. I had to go in and grab my coffee off the coffee table, and I've got that. And now I'll hit do my countdown and hit record, and we'll get on with it. Now be careful, cause Mark's turned into a wildcat, dude.
Why is that?
Yeah.
He's been hanging out with the wrong crowd. You think I'm bad, dude? He's like he's aggressive and shit now.
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
hardly. Where?
Dude, I'm thoroughly impressed with how you've been.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you are impressive, dude, for an Englishman.
Okay.
All right, do your recording. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm do my countdown. 3, 2, 1, now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gaming with Infamous. I'm Infamous OG 1973. commonly called Infamous or Roger Hansen. Today I have Mark Edworthy with me, as well as Tan Hai Tran. If you want to say
Hello.
hi, there you go.
Hi. Hi.
Cheerio.
Today we are continuing where we left off, and we had to call in the hard hitter. We had to bring Tan in so that he could kind of keep Mark leveled out and on task, because he's been getting rebellious and
Yeah.
like
Dang it. So, what's the topic for today, Rachel?
today's topic is going to be about cloud gaming. Now, we have come some ways in it, but there are some parts that we'd like to go back over with you, because it's good stuff that I think you'd really enjoy talking about. Now,
Okay.
we ended up starting all of this off, and we were going through. Let me get everything straight first. I gotta remember where I'm at in the talking points. Now, we started out really good, but then we got into cloud gaming technology, and that's when shit hit the fan, because Mark just had a complete freaking meltdown. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was
Cloud technology rather than cloud.
And,
technology. Yeah.
And the one thing that he seems to be having an issue with is like all of these parts that are being put into cloud gaming in different areas where they could use them in a better area, pretty much to say like NVIDIA would work better in this area rather than the area it's in. You know what I mean? Or
Oh no, you were arguing that you were talking about Nvidia's graphic division, where I was talking about that recently Nvidia's gone into the more sort of AI processing division, nuke.
now he
Yeah.
he brought
Can
that
you-
up.
Can you catch me up, guys, on what you've discussed in the previous shows so far?
Okay, so what it was is we brought up the topic of the EU and the game cloud. Okay, and I mentioned the fact about how interesting it was that the EU made it a stipulation that Xbox and Activision had to include their games on the game cloud or cloud gaming networks before they would allow their sale to take place. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's when we started talking about Mark's conversation where he had about like these different parts could work better over in this area rather than over here, because all of the people that he's mentioning are players in the work that goes behind setting up this cloud gaming infrastructure. You know what I mean? But they're not in the areas that he thinks they would be best in. You know what I mean?
Actually, I've got a few more thoughts about Microsoft as well.
You know, and I brought up the fact, well, for me, like with the EU, do you think maybe that they're going according to like contract agreements, like this company can do this work while this company can do this work, and so forth? You know what I mean? Rather than hiring people as they want to and putting them in areas where they're best suited, they're given contracts to do a certain function.
This actually goes into a further issue. This is all about the so-called technocratic socialist point of view, where corporations demand things from governments, and governments demand things from corporations and removing the sort of less than fair sort of concepts.
I mean,
That's what we are seeing at the moment.
I'm just kind of bringing it back up so that if you have any kind of take on that, Tan, you can say something. But it's up.
Yeah, I still don't understand how does the EU come into like how.
Well, see, what happened was is Activision was being bought, and they actually had a transaction that freaking consisted of billions of dollars. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest freaking acquisitions in the gaming industry, to be honest. Now, they actually Xbox and Activision and Microsoft and all of them had to go before the EU's. I guess it was court systems.
Competition regulator.
Yeah, and they had to get approval from them to freaking actually do the transaction. Well, the EU turned around and said, "Well, we will agree to this, but you have to put your games on the cloud, the gaming cloud."
I see.
Remember, you had you were stating the cloud, as in there is a singular infrastructure there. Microsoft's, well, we know in the industry that more majority of games now are being sold as online, sort of either online direct distributions or downloadable products. So, and Microsoft's got their own cloud infrastructure. So, even though the EU is
Activision is now owned by Microsoft, right?
Right.
And Microsoft had
fully
this.
or partially.
I don't know.
Now, what happened with that whole transaction was Microsoft had there was a deal that was going on between Microsoft and Activision with Nintendo, I believe it was, where they can. All of this started over Call of Duty.
The game.
Yeah, Call of Duty 3, and there's a few other games that were high priority, and there's a lot of money invested into it. Now, when this acquisition took place, that meant that I believe it was Nintendo
And Sony.
Yeah, they would lose their rights to freaking be able to make money off of those games, and that's where all of this originally started from.
But historically, Nintendo's has always been sort of fairly insular. They will only promote their own products, and it's very little cross-platform collaboration.
Right, and that's a good point to bring up. I think we had a little bit of a conversation of that too, because like that was a big issue that I know personally from like playing Nintendo and playing freaking Sega or even PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't just interact within the three console systems.
No,
Oh, yeah?
what I mean is, sorry, I think I understand what my point is. Nintendo will release products, or the distributors will release products that are specifically Nintendo, so Mario, Zelda, blurbs, and they will not sell the rights to other architectures or of other companies.
Right, and
So if you buy, you can only get Mario and Zelda on Nintendo products. And if you want to use a x86 product, you wouldn't be able to use those games.
Okay, so now that he's said that, what's your take on it, Tan? Do you have any thoughts on that?
It sounds like it's a cool idea. What you mentioned that so between Sony and Nintendo and what's the other
PlayStation.
PlayStation? Yeah, have they made any
Sony, PlayStation, same company.
Oh, yeah, you're
Sony?
right.
Yeah, no, not the other one.
Nintendo.
Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft, and then Xbox. That would be Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah.
Remember,
So they all
Microsoft has,
carry Call of Duty on that platform. Yeah.
Now they will if they use
Nintendo doesn't.
if they use the cloud network, they'll have access to it.
Yeah. You mean like the Steam?
Yeah, but you won't be able to play Call of Duty on a Nintendo device because that needs further development. And as like I said, Nintendo has always been insular, and they will not allow that sort of cross-platform. Whereas Sony and Microsoft has. Remember, Sony, Microsoft licenses DirectX to Sony, but Nintendo wouldn't want to pick up a license for DirectX.
Well, see, that's because they're dirty bastards.
Well, it's because they are a very insular company.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea to provide interoperability between different gaming.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If history's any judge, but it's not going to happen. Or as far as Nintendo's concerned, anyway.
Nintendo has always been obstinate about stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and that even goes back before cloud gaming and all this new stuff that they're introducing.
Yeah. They've been like that since they went into the electronic gaming market back in the late 70s.
Yeah, they actually slowed frickin' internet gaming down because of them actually being introduced into the gaming world. You know what I mean? Them and Atari, because internet gaming was up and going, and they were ready to go pretty far at the time. And that's when console games came into play, and all of a sudden, frickin' the internet gaming fell short. You know.
We're talking about post 90, obviously post 94, but we're probably talking about post 2000 there.
We're talking about like 1980s.
Yeah, no such thing as the web, internet.
Well, 80. What was it? 87, 88 when it first came out.
The web. I pointed this out on a Minds Canaries chat about a year or two ago. The internet per se has been around since '64. Arguably, depending on your metrics, 83, 84. But the web itself hasn't been around since, or has only been around since '94.
Oh wow! Yeah, well, actually, Facebook came out. What was it in 2003? So
yeah, about that time.
So relatively, frickin' the internet was still young when Facebook first came out.
Google came out in 98, 99, 98, 97.
Yeah.
No, Google was a bit slow.
Mm-hmm. So for me, what I was wanting to know though is like do you think like these corporations, the reasons why they're not using their best equipment for the job, it would be because they're having contracts where they're being told this is what you can work on and this is what you can work on and this is what they're making it to where these companies can work on just these projects and they don't allow them to use.
Yes and no. The other thing you've got to consider is sort of the perceived market need. I mean, as we've seen with recent games, especially within the last year, thinking of things like Dragon Age, the latest Dragon Age, there's the entire woke issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These companies that the market wants this, when in reality, as proven by the recent Dragon Age game, it has flopped.
Yeah.
Because
you
companies
can't see my dog?
misread the market.
Your dog.
My dog's a Mirage.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, there we go. There he goes. This cute little guy, man. He looks like
he's cute.
he looks like one of those dogs you see in the movies, the cute fuzzy ones that
Yeah.
give you the puppy dog eyeballs, and you end up like giving him a biscuit treat.
Yeah. He's not a Shiba Inu though.
Uh,
No Doge pun. I don't know what breed it is. We think it's a Havanese. No, yeah, like a Cuban breed.
Okay, so since we've bored you with the whole thing about the server, the next thing I wanted to get from you is what's your take on hyperthreading?
Hyperthreading.
Yeah,
What sense?
for CPUs. I just want like your take off of what you know about hyperthreading when it comes to CPUs
And how it affects cloud gaming?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just about hyperthreading, anything that you want to make a comment about when it concerns hyperthreading.
It's just it's a marketing blurb, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, really.
And Intel technology is just being able. It's their way of being able to do multiple.
There is some technology concepts behind it, but generally speaking, yeah, it's a marketing concept, or it's a marketing term, should I say.
Well, you want to elaborate on it a little bit more? I mean, Dan?
Well, I mean, it's on a hardware level, a way to process multiple tasks in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know too much about this technology. Intel came up with it and then they've just branded it as hyper-threading.
Yeah.
We could dig into the internals of how they work, but I mean,
We've dug up all of it. We're just like, this is the reason why you're here, is because freaking you're the wise guy. You're the guy who breaks it down. You didn't even have to do research, and you just spilled it right out there. You know what I mean? I had to read an entire freaking paragraph on the shit. But it just
well, really, you need to understand the concepts of CISC and RISC processors, and understand serial processing and compare.
Yeah, but I mean, so what if they have hyper-threading? Intel has hyper-threading on their CPU. How does it help with cloud gaming?
So what happens is like when it comes to these servers, okay, which are set up all around, they use hyper-threading technology to make it to separate responsibilities of the CPU, to where 2% of this is put here, 2% of here, and 2% is here, and they break it all up to where they have different tasks running at the same time. That would be my best way of explaining it. I'm pretty sure Mark can probably
Technically,
do it
it is
better.
not running at the same time because again, CISC processors, x86 processors, uh, they can only do one mathematical equation at a single time.
You're getting way
There
too.
might be milliseconds, hundreds of milliseconds, but it's only one task at a time.
Right, and you brought that up
This
before too.
concept.
You brought that up too before.
Mm.
I know that much.
There is there's an article on PC World, pretty recent, October. It says Intel has abandoned hyper-threading technology. You guys know about that?
No, I did not know about that. That's interesting. So,
It says hyper-threading is dead.
Yeah.
Intel has banned hyper-threading on all new desktop processors. All new desktop processors.
so I wonder.
Send you the link. See if there's what the reason behind that is.
I want that is pretty interesting because like they have been using this in like their Intel Xeon CPUs. That's what we were getting into, and that's what Mark was talking about. Like freaking, they could have used a better CPU than Intel Xeon. You know what I mean?
Again, Xeons are mainly marketed to server and corporate workstations, and standard Intel architecture is marketed to the consumer.
And I found out the information that we had before. It says the Exxon Xeons, the processors are designed for multitasking and handling compute-intensive tasks like database management, scientific simulations, and AI workloads. It's supposed to have built-in.
Well, I'm not sure about AI workload because the new generation APUs.
It sounds like hyper-threading is not real multi-threading, where their second core is like a virtual core. So, why would you do that instead of having real cores? Right?
Now, do you know?
In reality, when we're talking about threading, it's just talking about cores, really. Multiple cores.
And see, that's
may
where
they be real, may they be virtual.
That's where I split with my son on that, because we've had this conversation about cores versus threads in a CPU, and I've always been a kind of guy who I'm more concerned about how many cores there are in a CPU rather than the thread amounts. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the core is the physical hardware. The thread is just
not
the
necessarily.
software.
You can have virtual cores. As an example,
Other than
on this machine that I'm using at the moment, I've got 4 physical cores plus 4 virtual cores, P cores. So in effect, I've got 8 threads. So each core, it's just a marketing term. It's. I can understand where your son is getting confused with. This language is deliberately there to confuse the issue.
To make them think that it's cool. Like
Yeah,
most
really.
of the younger gamers are the type that goes out and they get the most expensive shit because in their head they're envisioning making a computer with neon lights and blinking. You know what I mean? I mean, let's just be honest about it.
Yeah, as you know, I've been working in this industry for donkey's years now. And I've done a lot of retail repairs and not sales per se, but repairs. And I am a standard that I'm always a standard when customers will come up with me and ask me. They must get the greatest, newest machine, and when I ask them what they're going to use it for, and they will say, "Oh, a bit of gaming and a bit of
You're getting excited,
I'm really using 10-20% of the machine's capability.
right?
So
Now-
they're spending all this money on the up-to-date machine and only using a percentage of it.
Right. And see, this is where I ended up getting into my conversation about like, there's a difference between gaming and like with me, what I do on Blender. Okay, now this hyper threading thing would be perfect for doing Blender because I could do 6 projects at the same time, and it would only use a percentage of the CPU for each project. You know, where that would be beneficial, but then like using it for gaming is just ridiculous.
Again,
Well, I mean, gaming-
we should ignore this sort of
Yeah.
marketing hyper-threading terms because it's just mere cause.
Yeah.
So
It's just nothing more than another term for multiple cores.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So is that your take on it, Tan?
Yep. It's
Okay.
kind of this.
I'm
So, I
telling you.
mean, if they're no longer shipping hyper-threading, they have something else equivalent or better.
So, in theory, rather than creating virtual cores, Intel, I have to check this out, but Intel must be creating CPUs just with actual cores, physical cores, virtualized cores then.
It is pretty interesting. I mean, when you think about that, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's mostly the kids who talk about the threads, how many threads are in a CPU, and like with gamers especially, this conversation really is important because all these gamers want to build their own Steam boxes, which is a gaming computer. You know what I mean? They call it
Yeah.
Steam boxes. So they'll go out and they'll grab these parts and put them into this computer, thinking they're getting all these advancements in technology and shit that's going to be so useful to them. You know,
Really, the Steam boxes are just x86 machines in a different form factor. Just in a physical different form factor.
Speaking of Steam, let's talk about Steam for a few minutes. Have you used the Steam platform much, Roger?
I use
I-
it.
Or what we, the Steam store. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got a couple titles.
I use it.
Through that.
I use it. I use it all the time. I actually,
Yeah.
I agree with using Steam over this whole freaking web cloud thing to be or cloud gaming, to be honest with you, because
Well, Steam is a
Specifically-
cloud gaming
Yeah.
platform.
well, it's an
Um,
option. It's an option, but I also have the opportunity to download the stuff onto my computer, which the
Yeah, Steam is well. When you say cloud, it's two things, isn't it? It's generally speaking, it's a store where you can download. So it's a cloud.
see he starts moving around like that, and he gets excited.
And it's a way of saving your files, saving your saved files to external infrastructure, to their own infrastructure.
Okay, wow,
So
man.
in theory, you can have the game on 2 machines, and then you can use the same saved game files downloaded from the infrastructure.
Well,
And also
But-
in relation to updates as well.
It's two things, isn't it? It's a store where you can download games and install it locally on your machine to play, and two, you're able to interact with or compete with other Steam users on the Steam.
Oh yeah, there was the collaboration sort of friends sort of concept. Yeah.
So see, now we're going into territories that we were covering towards the end of the last stream, which I think you would also like. But before we get there, I want to ask you about ray tracing. What's your thought about
Oh,
ray
jeez.
tracing?
Ray tracing is the graphics terminology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But this is like This goes back like 20 years when I was taking computer graphics.
A lot longer actually. As I pointed out last week, I was creating ray traced images back in the 80s on BBC B.
Yeah.
BBC B Plus to be correct.
That was one of the conversations we got into. Like, everybody today seems to be all hype on this stuff, but what me and Mark both agree on here is, like, it's been around forever.
Exactly. Yeah, it's computer graphics terminology. But hey, I just did a Google, and look, Google Gemini came up with an answer on the Google page. You guys see that?
No, not yet. I can't-
Gemini answers, what is ray tracing? It's a computer graphics technique that simulates the behavior of light in the real world to create realistic images.
Yes, that's.
It works by tracing the path of light
well.
rays from a virtual camera through a 3D scene and back to light sources. The light rays interact with objects in the scene, collecting information about the object's color, texture, and lighting. This information is then used to create the final color and illumination of a pixel on the screen. Ray
Right.
tracing can simulate a variety of optical effects, including reflection, refraction, shadows, depth of field, motion blur, caustics, and ambient occlusion.
I'm not.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah, I know.
Um,
I know
it's
all
quite
of that.
uh,
Now, see, with me, I get on Blender and I play around. So
Ray tracing can be computationally intensive. Yeah, I would imagine, right? Especially.
Let me get back on there. I got to click on the link again. I got booted from my own freaking stream. Hold on, guys. Let me get this squared away.
good.
Yeah, sorry, I got
I
cut.
can't get that.
Yeah.
I can't get that. Yeah,
I guess.
Boy, we miss Jitsi, don't we?
What?
We miss
What
Jitsi.
about it?
We miss Jitsi. This stuff happens all the time. We get cut off. I just literally lost my freaking thing. I had to come back in, so I don't know if you guys
Oh,
do that.
see to increase.
So I was reading along, and let me see if it got dropped from your stream.
Well, you actually said a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, and well, okay, there we go. Are you still there or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I seen some weird shit happen with my thing, so I'm wanting to double check. Okay, I'm still here. I'm just
Yeah, you're okay.
okay. But yeah, you were saying when I started talking about the Blender thing, it was after I said that I missed the rest of it.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, okay. So I was just reading out that it says ray tracing is fairly intensive on the GPU.
mhm.
So when you're doing the rendering on Blender, and you enable ray tracing, do you see that your computer is fuming up as it's doing its rendering?
Well, see, that's the odd part about ray tracing when it comes to Blender. Now, if I take and I use my GPU, then yeah, I have problems with it. But it does better if I just use my CPU because it's strong enough to handle it. Okay, now if I had a CPU that was maybe less than freaking 8 cores, I wouldn't suggest that. But 8 cores and higher, the CPU can handle this on its own. Now, if I turn around and I use like my GPU on it, it would literally wear the shit out of my GPU, like you wouldn't believe.
Interestingly, going back to the BBC days, I remember doing a image back in the 80s, 7, 8. On what you would call mode 2, so 160 by 256 pixels, and the rendering on this particular image would have taken something like an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
to complete.
Yeah, I do some that's on Blender that takes me 5 days to finish. I have to literally
Yeah,
let my computer freaking sit for 5 days straight and render that freaking
5 days. What in the
5 days, man.
Are you rendering in HD?
I'm rendering on freaking it. The settings are freaking 1920 by 1080, freaking 100%. I mean,
How long? How long's the video? Why does it take 5 days?
well, some of them are freaking like 5-6 hours long, you know,
Oh, I see.
but they don't have very.
Depends on yeah, it just depends on the complexity of the image.
And then like if I go in and I do an actual animation, and I do an animation that has a lot of complexity, like audio visualization is a big one. If I do that with the Blender, it slows down and it takes long too. So
What CPU do you have?
I have a freaking I've got this things on. It's an Intel what is it, i8?
i7? i8.
i7, I believe,
That's-
i7 or i8. I can pull it up.
i7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
bring up
would
your
need-
task
I would need
manager.
the actual model number to make a judgment. I mean, the i8, i7 is it's meaningless.
I bu-
I have an i7
yeah,
8-core,
yeah, that's what I believe I've got too. Don't
and I render like a 30-minute video on DaVinci Resolve in about like 10 minutes.
well that's
Again, there's a lot of mitigating factors you've got to consider. Background tasks, the quality that you're rendering that,
Well, you better
the
kill
amount
that
of information you're rendering.
See, that's taking 5 hours.
well
Yeah.
the thing
That
the,
will
the,
depend on various factors.
the thing of it is like freaking Blender has a lot more functions involved in it. Like I go in there and I can freaking put different things on it that you can't get from DaVinci Resolve. You know, and like the one thing that I've had this conversation with other people like Darker Things off of YouTube and Zach and them about like the different programs they use compared, and I tell them straight out, I'm like, well, you know, you guys are using all these different programs. I only have to use one. I go to Blender and I can do everything from video editing all the way up to freaking computer graphics to all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, they're
I've always been a fan of the
yeah.
in the software concept of then using multiple. As an example, using a single Office application to allow for presentations, spreadsheets, and whatever, or having an IDE that will do multiple functions that will compile, will allow you to edit, or allow you to preview, test. I do like the sort of more integrated sort of concepts.
Now I have for my CPU, I gotta check it down. I'm finally there. It's a Ace. No,
What is it? What is
It's
it?
a AMD.
Intel,
It's a-
what? Oh, it's AMD.
yeah, it's AMD. It's
AMD,
Ryzen
AM.
7 57.
All right, it's in 7. Okay, so
50.
it's similar to Intel i7. Yeah.
5700X 8 core 16 thread.
8-core, 16 logical cores.
Yeah. Unlocked.
It's similar to what I have.
Now, what else is there? There's a
Sorry, what was your model number?
oh, I don't have my model number on this.
No,
thing.
no, the Ryzen
The
7.
CPU.
Ryzen 7?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ryzen 7.
because
It's 1500 or 5700X,
okay, yeah, so
and
It's a fairly decent computer.
yeah.
Do you have plenty of free space left on the computer?
Well, I'm filling my 2 terabytes of storage up really quick. Like the other day, I hit 0 on memory because of all the bullshit that I freaking have on.
0 on this space. I mean, when you're doing rendering, it needs some of those space for
Yeah, I
vertical
know.
swap.
I know.
Yeah, there's a solid state. Yeah, you're going to have to be able, even though there is usually depends on the drive, if it's DRAM or something, there will be a small amount of space already proficient, but it's always good to have some space proficient anyway, because solid state drives.
Yeah, do you
Diane?
have an SSD?
No,
ready?
I don't trust that shit.
Okay, it's mechanical.
Might want to invest in one,
Well-
like just a small one. You can keep your data storage on the mechanical drive, but on the OS, use the SSD drive for faster performance.
Everybody says to go SSD, but I mean, all of a sudden, once the SSD was introduced, now we have to worry about dropping it and shit. I remember the old hard drives, man. Them things get banged around all over the place, and they still worked. And you'll hear people even say today, "Oh, don't do that. That'll hurt your hard drive." I'm like, dude, I don't know what world you came from, but in my world, freaking, I put these poor things through hell.
As I've mentioned on previous occasions, a solid state drive will die after a time, but in theory, you can keep it well kept, looked after. A mechanical hard drive could last thousands of years, millions of years.
Yeah. I mean, I love them. It's like I might do it because we're thinking about maybe setting up an external hard drive, and they've got these adapters where you can plug in a cord and plug it into the USB.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe of setting something up like that to where it could run off of that.
If you got a, I presume you went on an ATX desktop. If that is the case, then I would think about investing in a PCI eSATA, external SATA card. Because again, that would just increase the speed rather than using USB.
Yeah. Now, no, I got it up here. I don't even know if I like in my freaking computer, I can actually pull it up, but I have it on my hard drive or on my Google Drives for my computer list. So that's what I've been looking at. But I don't know if I have my monitor listed on what I've got.
Tan, question for you. When it comes to external hard drives, is there still a good argument compared to, let's say, eSATA?
Good argument for what you cut out.
Is SCSI still a relevant?
I think
You got cut out.
Yeah, he keeps moving around, getting all rebellious and shit. And
Okay.
Say your question again, Smart. Say your question again. We got cut out in the.
Is still a viable option?
Oh, you mean so is using an external like a detached drive a viable option?
For a SCSI interface.
Oh, SCSI. Why? SCSI is an old thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it? They don't use
Yeah, but
SCSI anymore.
is it still viable even now? Because it's still quite high. It can be quite high speed, and you can have something like 256 devices all daisy chained.
see, he's starting to do the shit I do on Tech Talk. Remember how you guys talk about my crazy talk?
Hmm.
Now he's starting to do it.
You'd
hear
have
that?
to. Like SCSI controllers are not built into the modern computers anymore.
No, nor is eSATA in most cases.
No, eSATA. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's viable. It's probably slower than You mean you attach so it's an external drive, right? You're saying.
Yeah, that's what we were
I
doing.
imagine
Yeah.
it'll be slower than just the one connected in line to the into the board. I have tried using like powering a Linux OS off of a thumb drive before. It's a little slow,
Yeah.
but
Again, depends on the USB interface.
yeah,
Depends on the build and the USB interface. It can be.
Now,
yeah,
I've actually done it with just making the thumb drive into a freaking a bootable freaking memory thing.
sure,
You just pop that baby in there, and you got Windows.
yeah.
You know.
So you have these
Yeah.
external hard drive, right? That you just plug into a USB.
Yeah.
I think it will be running a little slower
Yeah,
through
'cause
the USB channel.
Yeah, again, USB, even USB, the latest USB 4 is still slower than SATA, or PCI, or PCI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you I mean, what would happen though if you take it and you anchored it to the freaking computer, to where whenever it was hooked in there,
Yeah. You-
Oh, you
Dock-
mean you
yeah,
dock
that's
it.
what I mean.
attach it to the motherboard, but you leave it dangling outside?
No, dock it. You dock it. You dock it to the computer for freaking
Again, depends on what sort of bus you're using. If you're using
Yeah,
USB, it's going to be slower
connector
than
are you
if you're
using
going
for
to use SATA over PCI.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think it's livable, but I don't know if it helps your performance if you're actually doing rendering off of this.
Yeah, I don't
No.
I don't think it
Would be better if you just like install SSD drive as your main OS and use your normal drive.
I'm doing
data.
I'm doing good. Don't get me wrong. The only reason why I don't have all that much memory now is because I have all this freaking archived video that I'm trying to turn into an 8-hour block and put on YouTube. And then after
Okay.
that, I'm taking and I'm transferring all of that information from YouTube over to Rumble and then on X. So I have to get all of that stuff off there so that I can get my memory back.
Interestingly, I've been talking to Mr. Robot about NAS as some network attached storage. And in your case, that may be a good idea to support
Yeah.
backing up your
Yeah, get a
storage.
NAS drive for to offload some of your videos. Keep it there for storage.
I've got 450 external hard drive that I've been putting it on, but that seems to take up. Well, it's weird how that works because I put the memory on there, or put the videos on there, but then it fills that one up.
You only have
I mean,
450 gigs.
in
What
the
do you
consumer
expect?
space at the moment, when it comes to mechanical hard drives, you can get up to 8 terabytes, but in
Yeah.
corporate world, I've seen 20 terabyte drives.
Get at least a 2 terabyte.
But yeah, 20 terabytes, you're talking about thousands of pounds or thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I'll just do 2 terabytes. I can get that cheap off of freaking, off of Amazon or somewhere. Get one of those
Less than $100.
get one of those refurbished ones.
No, don't get refurbished.
Actually, no, when it comes to
Not
mechanical
when
hard
it
drives,
comes
I
to
would-
hard drives. Jeez, crazy man.
No, refurbished. Not when it comes to mechanical
He's
hard
just putting
drives.
us on.
No.
Yeah.
He's trying to make sure we're awake.
I knew that would get a reaction from you too. It's like refurbished. Oh no!
Because you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know
no.
what condition that hard drive is. It could have sticky platters. It could be scratches in the platters, sticky heads. Who knows? You are gambling a bit there.
Hard drives are cheap, man. It's good.
They're too. Yeah, they're too cheap. Like Tan's saying, for me to be getting a refurbished one. You can get good ones at a good, decent price. So I wouldn't do it. But what we're actually talking about is ray tracing, guys. So,
Oh yeah, back to ray tracing.
What's your take on ray tracing, Tan?
Definitely, I think it helps with gaming. Uh, as far as cloud gaming, I'm not sure it makes a difference either way. I mean, it's good for normal
I don't
non-cloud
know.
gaming. You
It enhances the visuals, and it reminded me too of something that we were talking about the last episode as well. My son was showing me this thing because you know how Mark's into the retro games and everything.
know.
I was telling him like there's games that are retro where you can actually play it the original way, the way it looked when you played it, or if you wanted the more updated look with graphics, you could switch it over to it. You know what I mean? And it would be nice looking freaking textures and everything up to date looking kind of game
Interesting.
experience.
Can
Can you,
you go
you have,
from-
can you find some
Yeah.
screenshot of that? Of what an example of that?
No, I have
So
no.
they basically ported the game and they modernized it, right?
Right. The
Yeah.
same
Not
exact
the
game.
original anymore.
It's the same game. You can choose between playing it with the original look or the new updated look.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
So these games are way too old that copyright or legal implications are no longer an issue, right?
Depends on ownership. The old abandonware concept. Again, depends on copyright of the proprietary license. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna Google retro game with modern look.
yeah. Now, actually, let me see here if I'm missing anything. I'm going through the notes to see, make sure we didn't miss nothing. Those were really the topics that we found to be the most interesting and everything that I thought you would really like to have a conversation about. That's the gist of what it is. Until we got to Mark and his angered black soul when he heard the word marketing. Like,
So right. So okay. So cloud gaming to me is like also I think Mark's gonna like this. It's like also a marketing thing. It's a marketing term because most of the games that are on the cloud, you actually install the game locally, right? You go to the cloud store, you download the game, and it installs on your local computer, and then you play it. But then it interacts with other people's on the same cloud. Okay, so that's a good thing. But still, it's playing. It's installed. So I guess that's where you are. Local CPU and graphics.
It's just a distribution method.
yeah.
Yes, just a
Right.
distribution method.
Right. So with those types of games, that's where your local graphics capability and CPU power makes a difference. Because if you have a more powerful PC on your local machine, you will outcompete other players on the network with a slower machine, right? Or slower
Right.
graphics rendering engine.
Right. Now, see,
I
you're actually up to task on this because it's like this is something that Mark keeps fading away from when he talks this because he gets caught up in the thing.
I'm going to actually make a caveat there. I have seen projects such as I think it was Ultra, which is a sort of cloud-based, well, external infrastructure operating system environment. So, in effect, you've got, let's say, Microsoft Windows installed on a remote machine, and all the computing processes are being done by that remote machine, but you're accessing it from a client on your own
And
machine.
now he's back
I
on
have
track.
heard of it. I question the performance of that type of a setup. Like it's basically you're connecting to a remote desktop, right?
Now,
Or a Citrix client.
now remember, we're talking about data centers too. Okay. Now, a lot of the stress that's being put on these computers in the ordinary world of computing is being taken off of our computers and they're being transferred over to these data centers that are equipped for cloud gaming, and they're doing some of the responsibilities that our computers would regularly have to do.
So we're going back to the old concept of terminals, back to the
Yeah.
old 1970s ideas
I
of
don't know.
terminals,
Yeah, I haven't seen.
dumb statements.
I still wait to see that kind of a setup to see if the performance. I guess with modern technology, they can make it possible now. It would be surprising. And so
Yeah.
basically, you are a dumb terminal, playing. It's a thin client on your local computer, running games that are actually running on some server somewhere.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Now, they make claims that cloud gaming's housing like thousands of servers with specialized hardware that is supposed to support, the intense requirements of what they considered modern day gaming. You know what I mean? So
Specialized hardware. Actually, I did back in my just trying to look for it, my cloud computing services blog article. I wrote a bit of information about the history of dumb terminals and the entire cloud concept, and going back to things, and that did describe things like telescript devices that were around in the 70s and 80s.
now, the one thing that comes to my mind about that whole thing is, I mean, they talk about like having sufficient resources, which includes power and everything. But what about cooling? You know what I mean?
we have data centers, so it should be taken care
Yeah,
of.
if you're in a data center, you've got a lot of cooling. Well, a properly set up data center. I've been in some and in class, and some of them are like fridges inside.
Yeah,
Now is Xbox a pure cloud gaming platform like like that?
Now,
They
Xbox.
came up with this cloud gaming beta,
Now,
but
The
I mean,
latest-
you have an Xbox on your local at home there that you're connecting to this thing to play.
Yeah,
So-
but again, it's just a distribution method. You're still downloading the binaries to
I don't-
your
yeah.
machine.
It could be doing that virtualization or virtual desktop, like you said, Mark.
now
Uh,
that right there would make sense why it would be so much, because they're going to have to. Well, first you got to think about the multitasking. That's going to cause a lot of heat. You know what I mean? Like, and this isn't just like me, you, and Tan playing a video game. This is like millions of people on this freaking on this system. You know what I mean? So they've got to work with all of that. You know, so when you think about that, and then like the whole the computing, the computer
cloud computing.
cloud computing and everything,
Mhm.
and then what about the freaking database management? That's all apart from.
Again, this is. I'm going to say
Database management. So I
um,
mean, yeah, you have to design your game. I guess you'd have to design your game for the purpose of cloud,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
remember, we aren't talking about a single host server here. We're talking about multiple bare metal hardware here, all running separate virtual machines on top of. So you might have your authentication database on one server, may that be an actual physical bare metal or a virtual machine, and then you'll have your the specific game stored on another virtual server or another server, and you have different elements stored in different parts.
Now
That
that
sort of mesh sort of concept.
that would bring us to something that we got into before too, Mark, which I think Tan would probably want to have a say on now. Like, Dan, have you ever heard of NVMe, non-volatile memory express?
No,
Yeah.
They're
Just a
I
SSDs.
might have.
solid state storage.
No,
No,
Technically,
might have
the
heard about it in
M2s
passing, but
M2
not in detail.
what did you say, Mark?
M2 sticks. So, as an example, and the green one up here.
You got one?
Yeah, got one to hand.
Now,
Um,
what I've read so
Yeah, it's like another memory stick, isn't it?
yeah.
But how's that different?
it's
normal RAM.
yeah, solid storage space, storage,
Oh yeah,
Now,
so hard drive.
from
it's a form of an SSD.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what it's supposed to be able to do is for this type of setup is it reduces latency and it increases data transfer speeds.
NVMe's are generally a lot quicker than the sort of 2.5 inch 3 inch solid state drives. Generally, I would say, because again, depending on the company, depending on price point.
Now the NFBMEs they rely on the PCIe. Have you ever heard of that? The
Technically, no.
It's
Bus, and then there's a specific N2 bus interface. So depending on the drive itself, it could either fit in a PCI slot and empty, and as an example, this HP machine I've got in front of me, one and two slots plus two PCI slots of the same form factor. So, the N2 will only allow for NVMe drives in, but the PCI can also allow for PCIe based NVMe's, as well as other devices such as Wi-Fi cards or there's quite a few different kinds of cards that you could stick in there.
Now, what I've been finding out is when they talk about that, what they're saying is these NVMe's utilize the PCIe, okay, and it allows for faster direct communications between the storage devices and the CPU.
okay. It's just a different type of bus on the motherboard that you need to plug this.
Technically, SATA utilizes PCIe interface. SATA is just the sort of it's not really an interface bus itself, isn't it? So more of a connector.
Well, you got to use it for like big data analysis too, and high-speed trading. Like people who have to trade on the stock markets and shit, they would want that. You know what I mean?
I mean, to argue that it's a bus itself, it's like arguing Ethernet. Is Ethernet the entire cable? Is it the port, or is it just the connector?
Well, I'm guessing
which is
it's
an
just a
argument that
bus.
has been
You know
going
what I
on
mean?
for ages,
It's like,
yeah.
now, that was the stuff that we were getting into right around the last part, and then we started talking about H265 or HEVC.
H265.
Yeah,
It's a video format, isn't it?
yeah.
It's a transcoding codec. It's a hardware-based transcoding
It's a
codec.
video encoding format.
Yeah.
So
The difference,
H265 is what you need
or
to encode the
X2,
photos?
or
That's what
X265 for software.
that's what
code,
they're
basic
using.
code.
That's what they're no. That's what they're using when it comes to these data centers. Let me point that out. So we kind of keep things into perspective on that. You know what I mean? For the data centers, they're using H.265.
Only
You
in
mean to
certain
stream just
circumstances.
to stream videos to the client?
Right.
That's cool. That's high. That's
trans-
high
No,
quality.
to transcode. No. That's just a transcoding technology.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I
it's not
see.
an
Okay,
actual
so they will
distributing code.
they will transfer the video into the client in H.265 format, and the client expected to
H.265.
decode it.
Right. And you see, like in gaming, whenever it comes down to like you're sitting inside of a game where there's freaking like huge battles taking place, and instead of the monitor freezing up on you because of all that, they're transcoding it and sending H.265 into your computer. You see, for it's about video
I will make a
compression.
distinction. I will make a distinction here. H.265 H represents that there's a piece of hardware, there's a chipset that actually does this independently. X265 is software, so it's being done by software means.
Well, H.265 offers better compression
Right.
than H.264.
It can actually
So,
compress. It can actually compress video files half the size that
Yeah,
the
just explain why they would
In
use
theory,
that format
again, it
for-
depends on the actual source of material.
It's to
It
improve
doesn't rip up
efficiency.
blanket
Yeah,
statements.
yeah.
You know, and you got to think they're also streaming high resolution content.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're going to have to compress all of that
Yep.
down, and still keep the quality.
Yep.
You know, so
Not necessarily now that we're seeing faster, well, in theory, faster and faster network connections.
4K and 8K, I believe, isn't it? Like,
You know,
and
yeah, it's
large stream
interesting.
resolution.
My Pixel 9 records videos using H.265 format. When I transfer it to my PC, the Windows Media Player is not able to play it. I had to buy this an H.265 encoding or plugin onto the whole system, onto Windows, in order for any of my video player apps to be able to play that.
that's crazy. See,
Crazy.
Is your machine is capable of H.265, or is it doing it via software? If
guess
it's software, then it's H.265.
I guess it's doing it by software because I needed that software.
So
in
yeah,
order to play it.
X265. X265.
So with this, what we got to also think about is freaking CDNs, okay, controlled delivery networks,
Cloud delivery network.
yeah, or content delivery networks,
Yeah.
and streaming services. You know what I'm saying? Like when they started implementing this and everything, they were thinking about delivering this data from these freaking from these freaking data centers to the client.
CDNs are, in fact, just a redundancy model, which in reality means that rather than you've got data centers mirroring other data centers.
Mm-hmm.
So you might upload your content to one data center, and then that and another data center will mirror that content.
Right, and from what I'm taking is like when these data centers they deliver this content, okay, to the client, it's just a smoother streaming experience for everybody, even the ones with limited bandwidth. You know what I mean? Like everybody is getting the same quality of content when they get on these games and they play the video games.
In theory, there are some caveats.
You mean
on that
like
one.
it for clients that have lower bandwidth,
Right.
it will downscale
Yes.
the graphics.
Yep.
So
They're
not the same
getting
quality, but same
Speed,
experience.
same transmission, yeah, mate.
they'll have a smoother streaming experience is basically
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
It is a good example. Let's say I upload a content to Minds.com and they've got data centers in the US. By whatever third-party hosting that they're using at the moment. That information may be duplicated in the host's UK data centers. So as far it's access a UK data center than it is to access a US data center, at least in theory.
Okay, so
But so cloud delivery or content delivery network, they would still have to have one central kind of a load balancer that
Yeah.
the initial contact is made, right? And then from there, it determines where's the best geographical server that can serve this request, and then it'll redirect
Yeah.
the
Indeed,
request
yeah.
to the closest server.
now, they brought it up somewhere in these notes. I can look for it and everything, but they were talking about where they had a system set up to where, well, actually, I think it would be for the whole purpose of having these data centers set up where they're at geographically. Because not only do they want to reach people from far away, but they want to also be able to reach people within the local